Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 253 based on novel. So let's start. Along with everyone taking action, a terrifying scene was also staged in the void of the silver space teleportation formation. This beast, although Xiao Yan's soul attack just now destroyed its spiritual intelligence, its own strength cannot be underestimated. Even if it does not have spiritual intelligence, the terrifying power alone is enough for us to deal with. The Great Elder Rain Curtain issued several tyrannical attacks in a row, but after hitting the silver scales on the silver dragon, it was easily resolved. This guy's defense is too strong, and its attack is the power of space. The special energy of space power can only be resisted with the power of the soul. Otherwise, using other powers to resist is tantamount to hitting a stone with an egg. However, if I continue to squander like this, even my Fairyland-level soul power won't last long. Xiao Yan stood behind the crowd, and tyrannical power continued to emerge, and every attack from the silver dragon would be met with it was offset by Xiao Yan's soul power. Elder, what should we do now? This beast is too strong. The other strong men also asked in confusion. Obviously, if this continues, once they are exhausted by the silver dragon, they will fail sooner or later. After all, this silver dragon is formed by the power of space, and this is his home ground. No matter how much power of space he consumes, he will absorb and replenish it in the space teleportation formation in an instant. This guy should be a mutant energy body produced by the gathering of unstable space forces in the formation space. It seems that this guy is indeed a trouble. Let's form an array. Yumu pondered for a while, and then spoke slowly. Okay. When the other 7 experts heard the words, they all felt a little bit in their hearts, and then their figures instantly retracted and came to the Great Elder, as if they were preparing something. These guys. Naturally, Xiao Yan wouldn't take the initiative, he just kept using his soul power to protect them. After all, the agreement with Yu Qianyu was the same. Thunderstorm Cage. The next moment, the voice of the Great Elder Rain Curtain was like a judgment, and it slowly sounded in this void. This is. What a profound way of imprisoning, and the power of imprisonment carries the power of thunder to paralyze the enemy. Hearing this voice, Xiao Yan couldn't help being shocked. Under the guidance of the Soul Eater, Xiao Yan still knew a little bit about these things. Thunderstorm Cage. This formation has an extremely tyrannical confinement power, but it also has its fatal flaws. It takes too much vindictive energy. Although this level of formation is powerful, it is extremely troublesome to use, and it is impossible to use one person alone. Boom. The 8 people headed by the Great Elder Rain Curtain slowly stood in a row, and on the 8 people, an identical silver thunder slowly flowed out from their bodies, and then converged on the Great Elder Rain Curtain's body. Thunderstorm Cage, imprison me. The Great Elder grasped the extremely terrifying power of silver thunder, and immediately shouted, and all the power was thrown away viciously at the silver dragon in the void. This formation was obviously prepared by them for a long time and was specially used to deal with this guy. As soon as the power came out, the silver dragon became restless. The light group where the silver giant dragon was just now is undoubtedly slowly mutating. If it takes some time, I am afraid it will really condense spiritual wisdom, but it is fortunate that Xiao Yan cracked it in time. The silver dragon, relying on its instinct, smelled a tyrannical breath from the silver thunder net, and couldn't help but let out a roar, which seemed to be the roar of the elders trying to provoke it. Generally, although the silver dragon did not condense wisdom, its body was condensed by the power of space. It sensed that the silver thunderbolt of the elder had turned into a sky full of thunder, and immediately roared. Its huge body suddenly coiled up under the eyes of everyone. Even after the huge body was coiled up, the space at the silver dragon wiggled slightly, and the next moment it disappeared directly from everyone's sight. No, this guy wants to use the power of space to escape our attack. One of the 8 people in charge of condensing the lightning net cage, a man with vicious eyes, said. Damn, it's still a step too slow. Although Xiao Yan had already realized that the silver giant dragon was not easy, who would have thought that the guy would be able to use the power of space to shuttle, and the dazzling soul force just wanted to interrupt the space of the silver giant dragon shuttle, but in the end still a step slower. Don't panic. Stable the transmission of Do Chi, we have Xiao Yang, it's fine. Seeing the people in charge of the formation were slightly uneasy, the elder directly interrupted their fearful thoughts. Okay. The other 7 people closed their eyes when they heard the words, and the dazzling fighting chi directly urged them to go out into the body of the Great Elder. It is strange to say that these people have different attributes, and they have everything in water, fire, and soil, but when the fighting chi was injected into the body of the Great Elder, the power of thunder that swallowed up was actually transformed into silver. The secret, I am afraid only the Elder One knows. Elder, taking advantage of this guy's lack of condensed intelligence, the next time this guy shows up, I will directly strike the soul to attack, so that your attack will continue, and then we will be able to completely obliterate it. Xiao Yang said gloomily. No way, this silver dragon's aura is too strong. And with the delay of time, Xiao Yang and the others' soul power and fighting chi continued to be consumed, but the aura of the silver dragon did not decrease but instead increased. And once they are defeated, I am afraid that the space formation will not be able to repair successfully. The space formation cannot be repaired successfully. Xiao Yang's East Continent ratio is also nonsense. Okay. Everything depends on Xiao Yang's little friend. At this time, the first elder was also difficult to ride a tiger. On the one hand, he had to maintain his own lightning net cage, and on the other hand, he had to take care of other sect elites who sent vindictive energy to him. After a while, the space was wriggling in the opposite place to the disappearance of the silver dragon just now, and in the wriggling space, a huge head slowly protruded. Longmu stared at everyone present, except for Xiao Yang, even the big elder rain curtain as powerful as the middle stage of the three-star fighting immortal. However, Xiao Yang, relying on his tyrannical soul power, did not feel this way. Break it for me. Yu Ming Tian trance. The next moment, Xiao Yang shouted directly, and the dazzling soul power turned into a strange cry, which slowly reverberated in this space. Boom boom boom. At the same time, being so startled by Xiao Yang, the first elder was also the first to wake up, and the thunder net that filled the sky roared directly at the silver dragon. Soul power and the extremely tyrannical lightning net of binding force. No matter how tyrannical this silver dragon is, I am afraid it will inevitably fall. Wonderland soul power? After Xiao Yang launched this tyrannical soul attack, in the space formation, in a rather hidden space, a man in black muttered, and it was hidden in black robes. The pupil below also became hot. Sir, you are. This hidden space in the space formation is extremely hidden. The 5 people in Yihong Courtyard in the narrow and hungry space are not weak, even the most powerful ones. The weak ones have reached the strength of the 2-star Dozian, and the strongest is Yi Ku in the late 3-star Dozian. This group of people is impressively the people of Kuyes High. The space here is set up just after they mastered the space teleportation formation. The small space is enough to accommodate 10 people, but the people of Yuzhong are completely unaware of it. The fluctuation of the soul on this kid is extremely terrifying, and it has reached the Fairyland. The man in black said, and his voice was filled with extremely hot fluctuations. His purpose is to collect souls, and the so-called soul body, to a certain extent, is the soul power separated from the body. Therefore, the strength of the soul power determines the strength of the soul body. Wonderland soul power? Yi Ku on the side couldn't help frowning when he heard the words. Obviously, although he was not a pharmacist and had never practiced soul power, he still heard about soul power. If it is only based on the soul power, the powerhouse of the Fairyland soul power is no weaker than a 3-star fighting immortal powerhouse. Even under certain coincidences, the 3-star fighting immortal powerhouse will be seriously injured by the Fairyland soul powerhouse. This is the most terrifying place. This kid, I want it, I don't care about the rest. After the man in black finished speaking, he calmed down and waited for the opportunity to do something. Fuck, this bastard, if it wasn't for you from that power, I'm afraid the master of this restaurant would slap you to death. This Xiao Yang is the murderer who harmed my son. I still want him to die. But Yi Ku, although extremely unhappy in his heart, didn't show it. After all, the power behind this black-clothed man can only be said in a single sentence. Let them be removed from the ghost world, unless Yi Ku doesn't want to mix, or give him 100 courage, and don't dare to provoke them. Kuyes High's group of 5 slowly stood in the dark passage. Once the space teleportation formation was successfully repaired, they would take action without any need. Boom. The battle in the space formation continued. Xiao Yang's soul attack directly seriously injured the silver dragon, and then added the great elder's lightning net cage, and the silver dragon was imprisoned immediately. Although the silver dragon is tyrannical, it has no intelligence. It is like a child who has just been born but controls enormous power. Regardless of its tyrannical strength and lack of intelligence control, it is also vulnerable to the joint efforts of Xiao Yang and several others. At this time, the silver dragon was constantly lingering with the power of silver space, exuding an extremely dangerous atmosphere, but outside it, layers of airtight lightning nets tightly imprisoned it. Looking at the appearance, it is impossible to break free in a short time. I didn't expect Xiao Yang to reach the soul of the fairyland at such a young age. It really makes the old man ashamed. Seeing the silver dragon being subdued, the first elder Yumu couldn't help but apologize together. Originally, I thought that it would be too expensive to dispatch a third-grade soul core of the immortal rank to hire a hairy boy, but now, after seeing Xiao Yang's combat power, Yumu felt that it was worth it. It seemed simple just now, but if it wasn't for Xiao Yang's soul power attack that seriously injured the silver dragon, I'm afraid that they would not necessarily be able to bind the silver dragon. The power of space on the silver giant dragon is really disordered. Xiao Yang felt the power of space on the silver giant dragon, and even faintly made his scalp feel numb. Young friend Xiao Yang, rest assured, this silver giant dragon is a mutant energy body of the power of space. As long as the sect master repairs the core of the formation, then this guy will disappear. The elder said with a smile. Xiao Yang nodded lightly, but he didn't have the consciousness to stop, but moved towards the bound silver dragon. Everyone is responsible for vigilance. Although this silver dragon is a collection of space power, it is inevitable that some missing space power will attack the core of the formation, so you can't relax your vigilance. The elder said solemnly. Yes. When the other people heard the words, their bosses opened their eyes and focused on the changes in the formation space. Xiao Yang was in charge of the defense of soul power. Naturally he was not as vigilant as others, but walked gently to the silver giant dragon, as if he had some plans. The power of space on this guy is disordered, but it can only be used by 5-star fighting immortals. What if I absorb it? Xiao Yang laughed slowly, and then there was a trace of fiery red on his finger. The flame slowly came out, and the next moment, it shot directly at the silver dragon. The fiery red flame easily penetrated the power of imprisonment of the thunder net, and then came to the skin of the silver dragon, leaving the shackles of the lightning net. I hope it's all right. The flame returned to Xiao Yang's hands with the chaotic power of space. From such a close distance, Xiao Yang could clearly feel the enormous power contained in the power of space. Tu Dohe, Fenju and Shenyang, if this method is feasible. Humph. If you want to die, just swallow it. And just when Xiao Yang's heart was moving, a basin of cold water from the Master of Soul Eater directly drowned out the fiery thoughts in Xiao Yang's heart. Master. Xiao Yang finally calmed down, and then spoke slightly. The power of space is an extremely rare thing. Only after the strength reaches the 5-star Do Xian, can a little bit be born, and then the Do Formation Master can be greatly mobilized. And the particularity of this power proves that it cannot be swallowed. Even if you have several kinds of treasures in your body, if you swallow it directly, you will probably end up in one explosion and die, said Soul Eater. Bang bang bang. When the Master Soul Eater's voice just fell, the silver space power in Xiao Yang's hand burst out with a violent aura, and then suddenly exploded in front of Xiao Yang. I rely on it. Thanks to Xiao Yang's quick eyes and quick hands, he directly threw the power of space out. Do you know now? The power of space is not in a hurry. When your strength reaches a 4-star Do Emperor, you may be able to try it. With your status as a Do Formation Master, your combat power will probably increase dramatically. The Soul Eater said with a smile. Well, then let's wait. Xiao Yang nodded lightly, and had no other thoughts. Be careful, there seems to be some other aura in this formation space. That aura is a bit like a person from the Ghost Kingdom, or even a person from the Soul Clan in your words. The voice of the Lord of Soul Eater. He opened his mouth slowly. A person from the Soul Clan? Xiao Yang frowned when he heard the words. Obviously, the word Soul Clan was not unfamiliar to Xiao Yang's ears. As early as when Xiao Yang was still in Dochi continent, he had some vague guesses. Of the 8 ancient races, only the Do Emperor bloodline of the Xiao family suddenly fell, while the Do Emperor bloodline of the other 7 races continued. And remember that the birth of Emperor Do's bloodline was the breakthrough of Emperor Do. In ancient times, many of the 8 major race powerhouses on the Dochi continent broke through the Do-Di, thus breaking through the space to reach the upper plane, and the upper plane is very likely to be a certain piece of the Do-Di Sifong continent. And the Soul Clan is no exception. However, Xiao Yang's intuition told himself that the Soul Clan did such a dirty thing to collect souls in the lower world Dochi continent. I am afraid that in this great world, the real Soul Clan would not be much better, so I heard the Soul Clan again. When they were in the family, they couldn't help but muttered. It seems that after the ghost world is over, Zuna must be found as soon as possible, and they must also go to the Do-Di Sifong continent where the ancient 8 clans live. They should know something about the Xiao clan. After all, they were the ancient 8 clans. They were both promoted from Dochi continent. Xiao Yang quickly calculated in his heart. As Xiao Yang pondered, the other powerhouses were also vigilant. During the period, there was no change in the silver dragon, so the time passed quickly. Time flies, a month has passed. Master Zhai, wouldn't these guys dump us? How long does it take to repair the space teleportation formation? Third Elder Kuya Clan couldn't help but said. During this month, they were all in this narrow secret passage, even though the immortal fighting powerhouse had already been able to avoid the world's fireworks. When I sent someone to destroy the space formation, I'm afraid the damage was a little bit bigger. But if you count the time, it's almost the same. Yi Kuei said, although this space teleportation will become disordered due to the power of space, but if no one secretly takes action, I am afraid that there will be no problems in 100 years, and now it has only been a few decades since the last repair, so it stands to reason that there should be no problems. Then wait. The man in black also said. The man in black is not in a hurry, although his strength is the same as Yi Ku, but after using some special means, his strength is stronger than Yi Ku. Furthermore, their Soul Clan lineage has a special method to deal with soul power. Although their strength has not reached the soul of Fairyland, there are ways to deal with that kid. Why hasn't the sect master come out yet? According to the previous restoration of the formation, it would take 10 days at most. How did it take so long this time? The Elder Rain Curtain, who closed his eyes, couldn't help but said. During this month, they have been waiting here. Although they encountered some counterattacks from the power of space on the way, they slowly defended under the protection of Xiao Yang's soul power. After a while, the silver scales on the tightly bound silver dragon next to it were erected, as if it had encountered some fatal threat. Crash. And the next moment, the light at the core of the formation exuded majestic power. That power is still the power of space, but it is different from the power of space of the silver dragon. The power of space emanating is extremely gentle. As the core of the formation exudes such a gentle power of space, the body of the silver dragon suddenly becomes illusory, and the power of turbulent space above the body is gradually resolved, moving in all directions. And go. Successful? Xiao Yang's soul was powerful, and he was naturally the first to perceive such a thing. Watching the silver dragon's chaotic power of space gradually dissipate, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. As long as the space formation is successfully repaired, then the ratio between himself and Dongju is also extremely close. With a sound, Yu Tianyue's figure emerged directly from the formation's core light group. Sect Master. Seeing Yu Tianyu coming out, the many Yu sect powerhouses on the side were all delighted. Success. Yu Tianyu smiled slightly, then looked at the silver dragon that was gradually dissipating in the sky. The space formation has been repaired. After the silver dragon dissipates, the space formation can be resumed. This space formation is also strange, it doesn't seem to appear naturally, but it looks like someone started it. The silver dragon is huge and cannot be dissipated for a while, Yu Tianyu said. Sect Master, you mean? The great elder Yumu seemed to know something and wondered. It's just speculation, after all, there is no evidence. Yu Tianyu shook his head. The overall strength of Yuzong and Kuya's High is almost equal, even the top 3-star Dozian has average strength in the late stage, which makes the two forces fight day and night, but after so many years of fighting, there is still no winner. When the power of the silver dragon dissipates, we will leave here. This trip is really hard, little friend Xiao Yang. Yu Tianyu said with a smile. I'm afraid it's too early to say this. Before Xiao could respond to Yu Tianyu, a certain void in the space of the formation suddenly trembled strangely. Bang bang. With a sound, like the sound of broken porcelain, four figures slowly appeared in the eyes of many experts in the Rain sect. Exactly. There are 4. The 4 of them are all strong men from Kuya Clan, and as for the Soul Clan guy, they are still hiding in the dark without making a move. Sect Master Yu, stay safe. Yi Ku, the master of Kuya Clan, took the lead and said directly, his voice full of jokes. However, at this time, 2 of Yuzong's 2-star Dozian late-stage powerhouses were instantly wiped out by Yi Ku and a middle-aged woman. Bastard! Upon realizing this scene, Yu Tianyu couldn't help roaring. The most worrying thing happened. They entered a total of 10 people in the space formation, the self in the late 3-star Dozian and the great Elder Rain Curtain in the middle of the 3-star Dozian. A 2-star Dozian perfected powerhouse was actually wiped out like this, and the remaining 2-star Dozian strength was only in the early and middle stages. Yi Yunqing, the 3rd elder of Kuya's High? Didn't you find out your identity by the tilde and imprisoned in our Yuzong dungeon? How could it be? Some discerning people muttered as they watched the 2 who fell in an instant. Thanks a lot to Zhai Master. As for the 3rd elder in your dungeon, he's just a ghost. Ha ha ha. The third elder, wearing a grey robe at this time, took a step forward and said to the strong man of the Rain sect. Yi Ku in the later stage of the 3-star Dozian, Yi Shuang, the great elder in the middle stage of the 3-star Dozian, Yi Yunqing, the third elder in the early stage of the 3-star Dozian. Yu Tianyu couldn't help but mutter, and an invisible sense of oppression slowly came. And the 5 elders of the late 2-star fighting immortal, old opponent. Xiao Yang also took a step forward and said, "Ha ha ha, little bastard. Last time, you ruined the good deeds of my Kuya Zhai, this time it will definitely make your life worse than death." The 5th elder also showed a deep hatred towards Xiao Yang. "Go. I'll deal with Yi Ku, the 1st elder, you deal with Yi Shuang," and the other 2-star fighting immortals are divided into 2 groups. One group will deal with Yi Yunqing, and the other group will protect Xiao Yang and deal with the 5 elder. Yu Tianyu has a clear division of labor, and in an instant the team is divided. Yi Yunqing in the early stage of the 3-star fighting immortals, his strength is a bit weird. As for the last 5 elders of the late 2-star fighting immortal stage, leave it to me. Don't worry, the old rival. Xiao Yang said slowly, but he couldn't help but laugh in his heart. When will it be our Kuya's High people's turn to be chosen by others? The 5th elder of Kuya's High looked at Xiao Yang, this hairy boy, vowed to deal with him, and couldn't help laughing. Although there was a battle in Broken Soul Cave before, at that time, the 5th elder did not use too much power in order to protect Yi Sheng. If he encounters Xiao Yang at this time, I am afraid that Xiao Yang will just die. After all, the difference between the early stage of the 2-star Dozian and the late stage of the 2-star Dozian is not even a little bit. Yu Tianyu, I'm afraid you will fall here today. The 2 3-star fighting immortals, I'm afraid they will lose to the 3 of me. Yi Ku took the lead in coming to Yu Tianyu, and the power of the tyrannical 3-star fighting immortal in the late stage spread instantly. Both Kuya's High and Yuzong were strong men with 3 3-star fighting immortals, so they were able to maintain a stalemate for many years. Without further ado, let's fight. Yu Tianyu also knew in his heart that they were undoubtedly at a disadvantage at this time, and Yi Ku was so mad, and dispatched all the top power of the family to ambush them, it was really insidious enough to be willing. Crash. The aura generated by the battle of the powerhouses in the late stage of the 3-star fighting immortals is indeed not comparable to that of the 1-star 2-star fighting immortals. The two turned into a streamer and moved rapidly. Even the space of this formation has produced a slight vibration, and looking at the appearance, it is impossible to tell the winner in a short time. Yi Shuang, I haven't seen you for a long time. I wonder if your strength can be improved. The 1st elder Yumu opened his mouth slightly, and his voice was filled with a dangerous smell. How weak is Yu in rainy days? Yumu and Yi Shuang are both great elders of their respective forces, both in terms of strength and temperament, they are all excellent. Whether it's strong or not, you won't know if you try it. Yi Shuang didn't talk nonsense with Yumu, because she knew that at their level, it would be extremely difficult to decide the winner in a short time, and the outcome of this battle is related, it is to see the 5th and 3rd elders. Boom boom boom. Yumu and Yi Shuang suddenly attacked together, and they were indistinguishable in a short time. Brothers, come on, we have to stop this guy, otherwise once it is freed up, I'm afraid the situation will be extremely unfavorable for us. The remaining 2-star fighting immortals couldn't help but said to Yi Yunqing, the 3rd elder in the early 3-star fighting immortal stage. Come together. Anyway, today, you are bound to fall. Yi Yunqing said lightly, the grudge in his body slowly revolve. Go. Several other 2-star fighting immortals directly launched powerful attacks and attacked Yi Yunqing. 3 3-star fighting immortals against 2, this situation is undoubtedly overwhelming. I hope you can stop Yi Yunqing for a while, or at least let me obliterate the 5th elder of Kuya's High, otherwise there is no suspense about the outcome of this battle. Xiao Yang shook his head and said, Boy, do you still have time to care about others when you die? Seeing this, the 5th elder of Kuya's High couldn't help but slap Xiao Yang with a slap. Boom boom boom. A light slap slapped Xiao Yang, and a dazzling fighting chi immediately emerged, and then formed an incomparably dazzling energy beam of hundreds of meters, whistling away towards Xiao Yang. Boom boom boom. Xiao Yang didn't have too much defense, and a splendid flame from the eternal fire eternal ancient ruler in his hand directly resisted the attack. Show your real skills, otherwise you won't be able to survive the 3 moves. Xiao Yang immediately said with a smile after defusing the 5th elder's attack with ease. You. It's too much to deceive people. Although the 5th elder knew that Xiao Yang's soul power was tyrannical, but after the previous battle, He vaguely felt that Xiao Yang's soul power was powerful, and the fighting energy was. But at this moment, he realized that he was wrong. Fifth brother, this guy can't be killed, so he has to stay alive. Yi Yunqing said hurriedly, looking at the fifth elder who was mad at Xiao Yang. Hey, boy, don't think that you can irritate me with just a few words. The fifth elder slowly calmed down when he heard the words. Have you shown your true skills? Xiao Yang smiled slightly upon seeing this. Although the strength of these 5 elders is already in the late 2-star Do's Yan stage, Xiao Yang still has some expectations. He has undergone the first transformation of Dragon God's tempered body, and with the blessing of the Do Spirit Do Core, even if he does not use these things, he wants to see if he has the strength to deal with the late 2-star Do's Yan powerhouse. Fire net! The 5th elder shouted directly, and then the dazzling flames on his body suddenly flashed out, turning into bursts of stars, attacking Xiao Yang. The little trick of the eagle. It seems that you have forgotten the suppression of my flame on you. Xiao Yang also waved his hand casually, and a tyrannical flame force immediately shattered his flame net. The flame Xiao Yang used at this time was only a fire attribute flame formed by the condensed bucket core, and he did not use holy flame, but even so, Xiao Yang's fire attribute was stronger than the holy flame and the 2 bucket cores. Ordinary fire attribute practitioners are too tyrannical. One move. Xiao Yang raised the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand again. He found that several 2-star fighting immortals who were dealing with Yi Yunqing were losing ground. If they failed, it would be extremely unfavorable for their side. I don't want to procrastinate. Boy, you are too arrogant. The 5th elder said angrily, but he couldn't do anything about it. He was a fire attribute himself, although he was a powerhouse in the late 2-star Do's Yan, he still displayed a tyrannical attack and hit Xiao. After the inflammation, it would be like tickling him, and it would not hurt him at all. I'll let you try the power of the 7th layer sky-shattering ruler again. A smile appeared at the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth, and then a khaki flame all over his body slowly replaced the ordinary fire attribute flame on his body. This is. Although the 5th elder was well informed, he fell into ignorance for a while in the face of the khaki flame. Holy flame! The next moment, it was still a person from the Soul Clan hidden in the dark passage, but a suffocating aura emanated from the dark red pupils. Boy, Fairyland Soul, holy flame! It seems that this time, my Yin protector has met a treasure. The man in black hiding in the dark passage was filled with a thick black mist, and the black mist was actually filled with an incredible force of terror. 5 It's time to end. 7th layer breaking the sky ruler. Destroy me. Xiao Yang's body surged into the sky in an instant, and then the khaki flames on his body instantly merged into the ancient ruler of different fires. He held the ruler tightly with both hands, and slashed towards the 5 elders below. Get away from me. You boy, give me your life. Yi Yunqing couldn't help but shouted when he saw this, trying to use the tyrannical aura that erupted in an instant to shake these 2-star fighting immortals away, so as to rescue the 5th elder. Otherwise, under the attack of Xiao Yang's khaki flames, the 5th elders are likely to fall sadly. Want to break free from us? There's no way. But things were naturally not as simple as Yi Yunqing thought. Although the 2-star fighting immortals who were in charge of entangling him were weak, they were not afraid of death. They directly dragged Yi Yunqing and let him can't pull away. Damn. What the are you? The body's fighting chi is not obeyed. This time, Xiao Yang did not choose to go out 7 feet, but only injected the power of holy flame into the ancient ruler of different fire, and then the 7th ruler broke the sky directly into a ferocious. The khaki flame dragon roared away at the 5th elder. Boom. The khaki flame dragon had no resistance and devoured it in one bite. As a result, this 5th elder who was as strong as the late 2-star fighting immortal stage actually completely fell on a hairy boy in the early 2-star fighting immortal stage. 5th brother. Looking at the 5th elder who was swallowed by the khaki flame dragon, Yi Yunqing next to him couldn't help but let out a loud cry. As the 3rd elder of Kuya Clan, he had a good relationship with the 5th elder since he was a child. Seeing the 5th elder whose vitality was passing quickly, he couldn't help shouting. Boom. Without any hesitation, the khaki flame dragon opened its ferocious mouth and bit the body of the 5th elder in one bite, thus making the 5th elder unable to defend against such a terrifying flame, and the vitality passed quickly, only a few for a moment. These 5 elders were lying in the space like dead dogs, their breaths were almost wilted, and they were obviously dead. If it were someone else, I am afraid that Xiao Yang would not be so easily obliterated, but these 5 elders are actually fire attribute. Sheng Yang is the deity of 10,000 fires. When Xiao Yang used Sheng Yang, The fire attribute fighting chi in the fifth elder was completely suppressed and could not be mobilized in the slightest. Therefore, even if the fifth elder was a late-stage 2-star Doze Yan, his strength was stronger than Xiao Yang's. A lot, but still lost. Destroy me. Naturally, Xiao Yang wouldn't raise tigers. The next moment, a dazzling khaki flame emerged, and then directly under Yi Yunqing's cannibalistic gaze, he burned the fifth elder's body into nothingness. The bodies and even the souls of these 5 elders completely fell under Xiao Yang's holy flame. After all, cutting grass does not remove its roots, but the spring breeze blows and regenerates. Little chops. I definitely want you to die. Xiao Yang's actions like this were undoubtedly declaring war with the entire Kuya people, but at this time, Xiao Yang had no other choice. After all, according to his master, the master of Soul Eater, it is very likely that there are strong souls here, and in order to avoid future troubles, Xiao Yang can only completely burn the body and soul of the fifth elder. Bang bang bang! Yi Yunqing roared angrily, and then the cyan vindictive energy, directly centered on himself, slowly spread toward the surrounding. With a sound, the 2-star fighting immortals who were in charge of stopping Yi Yunqing seemed to have reached their limit. The rest, leave it to me. Xiao Yang easily caught the crowd, then sent a gentle force away, and said, Lord Xiao Yang, this guy is very strong. Upon seeing this, the 2-star fighting immortals expressed their gratitude to Xiao Yang. Seeing Xiao Yang obliterating the 5 elders of the late 2-star fighting immortal stage, these guys also believed in Xiao Yang. After all, strength is the best right to speak. I know, you can rest in peace. Xiao Yang smiled and walked straight to Yi Yunqing. Little bastard, do you still have the courage to come over? I have to say, it's the first time I've seen you just because of your courage. Yi Yunqing's face was almost contorted, his eyes staring fiercely at Xiao Yang. I also saw a shameless guy like you once. Xiao Yang said indifferently. Although this guy is in the early stage of 3-star Doze Yan, and he is still in the early stage of 2-star Doze Yan, if it is a real life-and-death battle, I am afraid that he is not afraid at all. Boy, let's do it. Don't worry, I won't kill you easily. In that case, 9 will be cheap for you. I'll let you taste what despair is. I will let you know that offending our Kuya's high will be something you will regret for the rest of your life. Ha ha ha. Yi Yunqing growled angrily like a lunatic. It's really a lunatic, but I like this kind of opponent. Xiao Yang laughed, his eyes became serious, the fighting core and burning dew in his body were running at a high speed, and his intuition told Xiao Yang that although this Yi Yunqing was proud, he was not alone. The real strength of the 3-star Doze Yan in the early stage was there, and Xiao Yang's pressure was not small. However, pressure is also a driving force. Xiao Yang believes that if this time is successful, I am afraid that his future path will be much easier. Bring it on. Water Dragon Gang. Yi Yunqing spoke first. As the voice fell, the space of the formation was suddenly filled with a huge repulsive force, which slowly impacted every inch of Xiao Yang's skin. Damn, what a tyrannical pressure. Xiao Yang couldn't help but summoned the earthy yellow holy flame to wrap himself in an attempt to reduce some of the pressure. This Yi Yunqing is actually a water attribute. Although the water attribute is gentle, in the hands of the strong, even the earth attribute and some useless attributes, which are known for defense, can radiate extremely destructive power. The next moment, a 100-jong water dragon made up of dark blue water attributes appeared directly in front of Xiao Yang. On the water dragon, the dark blue do qi slowly flowed, bringing an extremely tyrannical pressure to Xiao Yang, and beside the water dragon, there was actually a water column wrapped around it to protect it. These water pillars protect the water dragons firmly. Even if Xiao Yang makes a move, I am afraid he can only destroy some of them. If he wants to destroy all of them, it is undoubtedly too difficult. Water overcomes fire, and it's still an absolute gap in strength, a step away. The suppression is too strong. If this goes on, there will be no fighting. Xiao Yang moved his body quickly while thinking about how to deal with it. I'm afraid that this kind of oppression can only be eliminated by using the power of Huaxin Tianyang and Do Soul at the same time. After a while, Xiao Yang had a plan in his heart. The mutual restraint of attributes is naturally one of the keys to affecting the battle, not to mention that the strength gap is still so obvious. Now only use the holy flame to add the power of the fighting core to improve the purity of your own flame, so as to eliminate this restraint. After all, restraint although there are, but under certain conditions, it will be eliminated to the point of being negligible. Since he came to the ghost world and learned about the situation in the ghost world, Xiao Yang seldom used the ghost face and soul flame, mainly because the ghost world can only swallow 2 holy flames, and the ghost face soul flame is one of them. If Xiao Yang was exposed, he would be asking for trouble. Ha ha ha. Boy, just run like a lost dog. When I get tired of playing, it will be your death. Yi Yunqing didn't seem to notice Xiao Yang's actions, but just controlled the water dragon to continuously launch tyrannical attacks, constantly forcing Xiao Yang to retreat. Damn it. Yi Ku's face became ugly when he saw the fifth elder being obliterated by Xiao Yang. A powerhouse in the late two-star fighting immortal stage, this is the backbone of a family's power, but was actually wiped out by a hairy boy in the early two-star fighting immortal stage, which made Yi Ku a little puzzled. Yi Ku, it seems that this time, God will not help you. Seeing this, Yu Tianyu smiled slowly. Obviously Xiao Yang wiped out the 5 elders of the late two-star fighting immortal. This is something Yu Tianyu did not expect. This Xiao Yang's soul power, the strength is tyrannical, and even the combat power of fighting qi is extremely terrifying. You'd better take care of yourself first. After a little deep voice, the two started a terrifying confrontation in Dudu. The two shot, both gloomy and vicious, but there was still no winner for a long time. The 5th elder of Kuya's High has fallen. It seems that this time, you have miscalculated. Yumu said while dealing with Yi Shuang's attack. That's not necessarily the case, no matter what. This time, your Yuzong is a mortal situation. At best, it's just the difference between our Kuya's High people dying a little more and dying a little less. Yi Shuang responded. Really? After the conversation between the two ended, a fierce attack broke out in Zaidu. Are all the people in Kuya's High stupid? But that's fine, I can collect a few more souls, although the soul power is too weak, but the strength is tyrannical, and after taking it back, I may not be able to help us in the Soul Clan. Do something. The figure hidden in the dark said slowly. Hey, old guy, I'll let you chatter for a while. Xiao Yang was still thinking while running, but inside his body, a shocking wave of terror was slowly rising with an astonishing aura. This video will end here.